Another one of my favorite memories from this time was my ninth grade birthday. Taurus, so May Day, May birthday. And so it's always been towards the end of the school year. And in the grand perspective of things, I had a couple more birthday parties, but this one was very special because my mom picked me up from school and we brought my best friends back home with me. My best friend, Ifani, Vincent, Brandon, and Gabriel. And by the way, Ifani's Nigerian, Gabriel's Mexican. I'm mixed. I'm Latino and white. Brandon's white. And Alan, my neighbor across the street, who was my other really good friend at the time, was Chinese. So that's the other thing I like to make clear is that San Francisco is not very diverse anymore, but I grew up in an insanely diverse city. And there's a reason I want to share this memory. So my mom picked us up from school. She bought pizza. We did the whole party at our house. And we had never done that. I had never done that before or since. And it was such a special memory because, again, keep this in perspective. 9/11 happened earlier that year. I changed classrooms, right? So I changed to a completely different classroom and I was picked on a lot. So unfortunately, many of my memories from the second half of my third grade year were spent crying behind the dumpster, which was behind our classroom. And one of the things that got me through this, I've already talked extensively about how Tiny was the biggest reason that I got through all of this. But another thing was actually the Harry Potter books, believe it or not. I remember voraciously reading those things, and I hesitate to use this analogy, but it's not completely untrue. Like, that was kind of my drug. Okay, I'll just say it. Like, reading and being transported to this magical world of muggles and magic and I don't know, even the weird little romances and crushes that happened, like all of that was stuff that was not in my world. And I constantly sought a fantasy land in these books, in the Harry Potter books. And actually, I'll get back to Harry Potter because I do just want to finish up my birthday party. So everyone, again, great time, wonderful time with all my friends. And then I'll remember, so my closest friend at the time, Ifani was my best friend, my best friend that I made at the really beginning of elementary school. And I remember that we had to drop Ifani off, or we dropped Ifani off after everybody went home, and my mom made arrangements with his mom that we were going to take him home after. This is my first time going to Bayview Hunters Point, and actually, let me get out the Bayview. Like, we went to the corner, the very top of Hunters Point, which is not the safest neighborhood in San Francisco. It's very removed. I won't get into all the history about it, but all I remember was how we drove like all this way to a neighborhood that I had never ever been before. And I just remember going up this big hill, and on both sides of the street, there were people just like standing. I guess I've heard you call that posted, that they stay posted. And I remember we got to the very tippy top of the hill, and I was like, wow, like this is unlike anything I had ever seen before. I don't know if I necessarily got the sense that I was unsafe, but I definitely got the sense that I didn't belong, that I was an outsider. Whatever. I don't even remember if it was my mom or my dad that took me, but my friend Ifani at the time lived in what was known as the Kirkwood Housing Project, on Kirkwood Street. So Bayview Hunters Point, shipyards. They used to be shipyards, and then they were converted into housing projects. I don't even know if these are still there anymore because, again, San Francisco's become so gentrified. But yeah, that was a memory that really stuck out in my mind. I was dropping my friend off in what they call Hunters Point. And then anyway, that was that. So jump to, I just want to establish that there was quite a few things that were going on in this third grade year. And back to Harry Potter, another memory that I have before I get to the next part, you'll see where I'm going with all of this, is that I remember it was the fourth book, right? Order of the Phoenix. Like, I was a voracious reader, voracious reader. And my dad used to reward me and incentivize me, used to buy these Christian books called the Sugar Creek Gang. They were like that big, and I read through them like nothing. And they came in bundles of like 6, I remember. And then he kept ordering them because, I'd keep reading them. And I've talked about this in my book, but like my neighbor gave us her encyclopedia set because she bought a new one. Excuse me. That was like my dream come true. That was my freaking dream come true. I would read the encyclopedia from A to Z, and then I'd go back and start all over again. I'd keep them under my books. And because it was kind of an older encyclopedia set, it wasn't super like rough. It wasn't really difficult for me to read. And I know this sounds so weird and nerdy, but these were some of the happiest, what I remember as the happiest moments of my childhood, because I wasn't picked on. I was like just voraciously reading and learning. And most importantly, I was like a part of a world that was my own, that I had created. And anyway, when I got older, my escape became watching the Mariah Carey music videos at the public library, because I had such a big secret to keep that I couldn't do that at home. But anyway, I want to end with this story is that I remember reading through the Harry Potter books. And again, I grew up in a Christian house. This was absolutely forbidden. My mom found the Sorcerer's Stone in my backpack when she was cleaning it out, and she was absolutely devastated. Her heart dropped. Oh, I felt horrible. And then however many years later, my baby sister's reading the books at her Christian school. Anyway, so I remember reading through the first 3 Harry Potter books, finally getting to the Order of the Phoenix. I'm pretty sure that's number 4. Or was it the Goblet of Fire? Oh my goodness, it's been a while. Do you remember how they each got bigger? And I remember this one kind of had a green. I don't think it was Order of the Phoenix. I think it was the Goblet of Fire. But anyway, the fourth one, I remember that I had to wait to check it out because it wasn't in the library. It hadn't been returned yet. So I'll never forget when it became available. I ran to the library, and as soon as I checked it out, and mind you, this book was like as thick as my arm, right? And I'll never forget, I could not wait until I got back to the classroom. So I sat on a bench just a few classrooms outside from the library and started reading it because that's how excited I was. I don't know, especially in this BS era of AI and computers and like all this ridiculous foolishness that has come out here. I especially hold on to this memory, but I don't know if we'll ever have, unfortunately, a literary movement like this that was inspired and spearheaded by my generation. So anyway, that's the last memory that I wanted to share in this part. And then in the next part, you'll see the interesting turn that this will take.